seriously sucks when I hear of new homebrewers, beginners quitting the hobby. And the reason why I believe that is that they quit, not why I think it sucks. I think it sucks because homebrewing's awesome. The reason why I believe most beginners quit is due to the fact they make this way too complicated. They believe it's way more complicated than it actually is. Thanks to YouTube, I'm sure, in a lot of aspects, people on there making this into a chemistry class. This is why I started Make Beer Easy a long time ago, because I was on the internet and there was just so much. It literally felt like chemistry class. Like I said, there was just so much BS out there that I said, you know what, we got to simplify this process. So my focus, as you guys know, is to teach people how to make good tasting beer easily. Now, don't get me wrong, guys that get into all the technical stuff right to the T make really good beer. I have some good buddies that do that and their beer is awesome, but my beer is really good. And I don't get into a lot of that stuff. I get into it, but I don't let it overwhelm me. I don't complicate the process. You absolutely have to stick to the basic principles when making beer. You can't just slap some grains and water together and hope for the best, but you don't have to complicate it. One of the big things that new brewers do, or believe they have to do, is spend a shit ton of money. You don't have to spend a shit ton of money. I own the brew pub, as a lot of you guys know, and one of my customers became a good buddy of mine. He loved craft beer, still does, and he figured he wanted to start making his own beer. I said, dude, don't jump into all grain. I know some people do that. I did not. So, of course, you teach what you did, but I think my way is the smart way. Start small, work your way up. There's 3 different types of brewing. Stages. Stage 1 would be kit beer, which I'm talking to lovingly refer to as the old can of goo, the Coopers, the Muttons, the Mr. Beer, the pre-hopped beer kits. That all you do is basically, I'm simplifying, but you mix it with water and you drop the yeast in and bam, you're off. Back in the day, they made shitey beer. The beer kits weren't that great. And I went through, testing and trials and came up with ways to make the beer kits better, which I cover in a lot of my videos, and you can check those out. Having said that, the beer kits have come a long way. And just the beer kits alone, the old can of goo, can make you some really nice beer. If you follow the basic principles, sanitation's the biggest one, and patience would be number 2. And then you transition into partial mash, which is basically you're using some specialty grains, so you get used to steeping grains, adding hops, and that's the exact same system as far as equipment as partial mash. I'm walking out of breath because I'm talking here. I'm going to have a heart attack if I'm not careful. And then you can move into all grain once you get that down. But you never, nowadays, especially partial mash, are so good, you never have to transition to all grain if you don't want, because all grain does take a lot more time and there is a bigger expense associated with equipment required. Gonna take a little breather, come back for tip number 2. They also get discouraged. I came back, took a little breather, and I'm still breathing hard here. They also, I'm working off all the beer I drank this past weekend. You got to do it, man. You got to stay healthy. Drink that beer, but stay healthy. They also, what the hell was I going to say? They also think that all grain is complicated, because I didn't mean to make it sound complicated, because it's not. All grain is not complicated, and if it is something you want to get into, it's a very simple process. You don't have to go all techie with the equipment you get. You can start out slowly. You don't have to go to a 3-vessel system. You don't even have to go with, the single vessel Brewzillers or mash and boils out there starting out grain father. You don't need those. When I transitioned, I started with brewing a bag. It's exactly as it sounds. Cheapest, most inexpensive way, least complicated way to get into all grain brewing. And guess what? Makes just as good a beer as the other systems. I've had buddies that put BIAB, brew in a bag, beers into beer competition, homebrew competitions, and win. So it makes really good beer. It's a simple setup. You've got 1 vessel, 1 kettle. You get yourself a grain bag that is basically your filter for your grains, and you get yourself a little turkey burner or something, propane, run on propane, and Bob's your uncle. Easy as that. What else can I tell you about this? They think that another big one that gets me is they think it's chemistry class, because a lot of guys get into water chemistry. Water chemistry for beginners is basically different beers brewed around the world. They have different water profiles, obviously. Some's hard, some's soft, whatever. So a lot of brewers will try to replicate that when they make a certain style of beer. And they do that by adding stuff to the water to adjust the water profile. So you'd have to go get yourself a water test. Then you know what minerals are in your water. And then if you're making a certain type of beer, you know, a stout, let's say a Guinness clone, you adjust the water. So it's very similar to what they brew with over in St. James Gate in Dublin, Ireland. That can be complicated. You don't need to do it. I will, when I owned my brew pub, I absolutely did it. Why? Because I was selling to the public and I was trying to replicate certain styles of beer as precisely as I could. At home, you'll rarely ever see me adjusting water. Hardly ever. Why? Because it's make beer easy. I don't give a shit if my beer is not exactly as Guinness should be. It's still going to be good. I brew from well water, so I like the profile of my water. It's good, and I make good beer with it. So if you want to dial it in, do that, but don't start there. Start easy. Don't complicate it. So again, lesson here is, guys, if you're a beginner home brewer, relax. Take it slow. Follow Big Rob. I'll teach you how to make good tasting beer easily. Start out slow, work your way up, and then by all means, go become a better brewer than me. Go dial it all in, get precise, get as much gear as you want if that's what you want to do down the road. Once you've discovered that you love this hobby and you like that extra detail, go ahead and do it. That's what I've got, guys. Sit back, relax, brew yourself some homebrew, and enjoy drinking that fine beverage. Oh yeah. Have a good day, guys. It's a long weekend here. Big Rob, he's got another half an hour walking that beer off to go. He's out of here. And if you're new to the channel, by all means, I give away my beginner brewers bootcamp. Descriptions in the video link or video description. And I also give away my top 5 best-selling recipes from my brew pub if you're getting into all grain. Cheers, guys. Have yourself a good one.